Do you want your rents to fall 40%? Well, we have a very recent example of just that happening. I'm going to go ahead and read this, and we're going to break it down and make it very local. Argentina President Javier Milei removed the country's strict rent control laws in 2023 as a part of a major economic deregulation, which led to an initial sharp decrease in available rentals as landlords pulled units. But following the removal, rental supply surged over 170% just in Buenos Aires, and real rents, adjusted for inflation, fell 40%, shifting the market towards fear, market-driven systems, and more options. Folks, rent control doesn't work. In fact, rent control only helps the people that are in the unit day one and hurts everybody else. I don't know what people don't get, but this is just another example of rent control hurting the people it's supposed to help. And then when you remove it, it hurts landlords. This is crazy. How you guys doing, Dion? Three Amigos, what's going on?
I'm doing great. I believe it hurts landlords who don't prepare for it, who aren't aware of what happens if rent control goes away. And the mistake so many make is we have rent control. Our rents keep going up. I can raise the rents every year. I have to raise the rents every year.
You have to raise the rents. Yeah.
So they think since rents went up so high, buying becomes more attractive, which pushes more people to buy, which pushes up prices. So prices and rents have escalated in the places with rent control. It helps the asset owners. It hurts the renters. It hurts the person who wants to be a home buyer. So what do? The landlords that have rentals where the values went up because all of the competition to buy and the rents went up, they over-lever. They think, I have all this equity. Look at all this appreciation I've got. Let me pull that out, buy more. And then what do you do when there's a 40% rent drop?
Yeah, not good. Not good. Looks like we're having a little bit of internet hiccups. I don't know if you're seeing that as well, Matt, but a little bit. All right. Kind of give me your thoughts on this.
I mean, we're seeing, our market doesn't have rent control, which is really nice. I think, but because I'm a free market guy, but certainly, we see the challenges. We see what happened in Seattle when, the idiots decided to, vote that in. We see what happened with Minneapolis. We saw what happened there as well. And funny enough, waste, fraud, and abuse actually increases in every category in cities where they put in rent control. So it actually is just one of the first things that they implement, and then it affects a bunch of other stuff that then creates fraud, waste, and abuse. So, one of the things that I did my live stream on it last Thursday night at 9 p.m. on my channel, my live stream was really talking about the fact that people are holding too long on the rents that they're expecting. If your market's gone down, one of the things you teach your buy box, I teach my rent box.
Yep.
If your rent box is adjusting, you can shout into your pillow all you want. It doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
What we do is we have enough units, with having 150 plus units, we have enough units where we can test stuff.
Yep.
So we do. If I miss a month's rent or 2 months rent, it's not going to topple my empire. It's not a big deal, but we want to test stuff. Hey, we're going to go back to market, but we're going to go above market. Are we even getting showings? Right. We're going to go back at market. We're going to go at market. Are we even getting showings? Or are we getting only garbage qualifying tenants? So we use it as a test to really understand what's going on in the market. We don't mind doing that. And what I can tell you is, largely speaking, anybody that rented last year, it's largely flat or below. If you rented 3, 4, 5 years ago, it's higher than that. And maybe you didn't do the binder strategy like Dion teaches, and you didn't get any rent increase. Well, now you're 5 years in, and I literally had somebody screaming and yelling at me that I had the balls to raise their rent after 5 years. Deuces. That's all I can tell you. Deuces.
Yeah, it's really funny. We actually saw in my market, again, I totally agree with you. The rent box is very important. Again, and also you've got to be able to move. If you're a landlord and you just pick a number that you thought you could get and you can't, step up in a couple weeks, lower
pivot.
That thing.
That's right.
Yeah, pivot. Yeah, we our softness wasn't so much 25, it was 24. So we were probably a year ahead of you.
Yep.
I remember that little house we had on Pine. It went from like I think it went from like 1,200 to almost 1,900, and now it's 1,600. Right. So pretty, significant moves. Dion, you actually prepared some charts. Want me to bring up Argentina first?
Sure. And hopefully the internet plays well with us. I turned off
Yeah.
my VPN. We'll see if that helps.
So far, so good.
It's good now.
So when Argentina had the strict rent control, investors are less likely to buy because there's more regulation. So if investors don't want to buy, builders don't want to build. So you limit supply. Then there's landlords who already have the units. A lot of them will leave them empty, leave them vacant, or turn them into short-term rentals. That was one of the big aspects there. A lot of the units went to short-term rentals. So you, again, limit supply. And when you have the same demand and you've limited supply, this is what happens to prices from 2005 to 2023 when they rescinded the rent control.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't very long for people to realize we might actually be able to make money with rentals. So building starts, vacant units get rehabbed and filled. Short-term rentals might go to long-term because it's less work.
Yeah.
And that supply has a direct impact. And it's weird. So I specifically want to invest in a red county in a blue state because I like the regulations. It limits my competition. It reduces the supply. It makes me able to make more rents. Washington is the highest appreciating market for almost 20 years now. But I have to be ready for that to go away. Who knows? It could.
Yeah. So again, if we take that idea and we just look at your market today, the state of Washington, it kind of looks like the first part of that chart.
Yes.
Yeah. So from 2005, when I started investing and owning rentals, I rented one out in 2010, got my duplex in 2013, really. So it was 2 years of saving and living in that apartment before I could do that. From 2013 to 2020, I did 5% every other year, and I was tracking pretty much like what our rent increases was over that period. And I had the binder strategy so that if we had a black swan event like a pandemic or a eviction moratorium or insurance tripled or something, I could make a large adjustment. I can't do that anymore. So now I'm forced to do a maximum 7%. I could do plus inflation, but I just do 7% every year. So this year there wasn't going to be a rent increase for my tenants, but rent control passed. So I got a 7% rent increase across the board, and I'll have one next year too. And I'll make tens of thousands of dollars more a month because of rent control. So I would have the temptation to do what a lot of other landlords are probably going to do in my market. Rents are higher. I could take out more money because I'll still have, with my BRRRR method, I'll be able to pull out more money and still be profitable and buy more properties. It isn't going to be blue forever.
Yeah. That's, I think the interesting thing is not red or blue here, but it's rent control or not. And there just has to be a point in time, and maybe it takes decades, where people realize that supply has gone the way of the dodo bird. And that's just a real problem, because if you keep reducing supply, it only goes one direction. And again, if we go back to the chart from Argentina, it doesn't take long, right? when you move rent control, which is like sand in the gears, and you just let market and capitalism work, lots of more, the initial gut reaction was supply was removed, but very quickly it was added back in, and rents collapsed. I mean, it's back to 2005 levels. That's what people want. You want to see where rents are soft in the United States? Look at where the most building was. I don't know why people don't understand that. Rent control means less building. More building means lower rents. I mean, it's just that simple. Matt?
No, I mean, that's exactly right. The interesting thing is, as I look at it, I have never seen that I know of, I've never seen a fiscal conservative vote for rent control, because they know it's the fastest way to destroy something and make it unaffordable for people to live in. So, I think that, sad but true, but that's just one of the things that blue clings to, and that, red understands economics and math. But as I look at my market, it becomes do I insist that I know more than the market and that I'm going to charge X? And what we call that is a landlord who eventually ends up in foreclosure.
Yeah.
And so what you have to do is you have to be mindful of what's going on in the market. You have to be mindful of what's going on in areas. we had, I looked at some of the units and we'll have probably, I'd say 15 to 20 units next year go through significant rent increases. And they're still not going to be at market. And the interesting thing is I'm looking at it and saying, is this going to, are the reductions that I'm going to take, is it going to offset it all the way? So let's say I have $100,000 in rent increases. Am I going to have $100,000 in rent decreases, as an example? So we'll have to look at it. I'm not really sure, but here's the cool thing. When you run your business well, either way, it doesn't matter. I don't care. It is what it is. We're renting them out for what the market value is. So, people don't understand and they make stupid questions like, oh, that person's overpaying. So a person is paying an amount that it was available on the market, and there was a meeting of the minds and they said that's not too expensive. So I rented it. So it'll be interesting to see, because I think more states are trying to go towards, rent control, certainly.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's just because they don't study other countries. They only like to study other countries when it comes to socialism of healthcare and how quality the healthcare is in those places. Because clearly they've never been to Canada. Yeah,
I'll remind you of a quote from an economist in a book, 1971, The Political Economy of the New Left. This was Assar Lindbeck. In many cases, rent control appears to be the most efficient technique presently known to destroy a city.
Sounds right.
Except bombing.
Interesting.
Another version of that, quoted by Larry Summers, stated rent control is the second best way to destroy a city after bombing it. Folks, rent control doesn't help long term. It feels good for the moment. It creates an environment where people stay locked in. You'll have families that have 3 and 4 bedroom units where the kids leave and mom and dad stay there. You also have studios that ultimately become, bunk beds everywhere when families grow. There's no movement, no investment, no units, no quality. It's just a recipe for disaster. Second best way to destroy a city after bombing it. Dion, your closing thoughts?
I think this is one of the reasons why it's so important to educate tenants. One of the purposes of the binder strategy is they're aware of what's going on. And an example is, let's say you have a rental in Texas and you're by one of the cities where all the building happened. And somebody says, rents are coming down in this market. If you have a tenant who is far below area average, that tenant's rent's going to go up next year. But all they've been hearing from the media is rents are down in San Antonio or wherever they're at.
Sure.
So if you educate your tenants and show this is what area average is, the area average came down, you're still at 60% of that. So that's why you have an increase this year. I think that's really important.
Yeah. And the other thing to really point at these charts is if you are in an environment like I am in California with rent control, I think it's reasonable to plan for it going away, because as you saw in that chart with Argentina, rents could collapse. And if you, to your point, are over leveraged because you just went back and got a burr and you're like, dude, this money is great, you could be in trouble, right? That turns into an alligator very quickly. So definitely some warnings, right, Dion?
Agreed. And that's the caution. The idea was there is a market that crashed 40%. My market is at risk. Your market is at risk, but we can plan for it.
Yeah.
We can not over lever. We can do rent adjustments when they're required. Whether our market goes up or down, we have to be ready for that.
Absolutely.
And you can find me here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom, live stream every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific. That lasts as long as the questions do when the internet works.
And Matt, obviously you have the 3 of us. You're the only one lucky enough not to invest in a rent control area. So give us your closing thoughts and where they can find you.
Love my state, New Hampshire, live free or die. That's our state motto. The other one is come across the border and find out. But it's awesome for us because really it is, free market economy. I mean, if they voted on rent control this year and it lost 14-0.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah. There's no contemplation. People are like, well, they're presenting rent control. No, they aren't. They're going to present it. It's going to get pounded like a piece of meat before dinner. It's going to get pounded. So what's really cool about that in our state is that the market largely is the market. The challenge is we also have a lot of, you guys always hear me say it, was I spend $50,000 before I can move a spoon of dirt to build anything. So now it's fraught with regulation. So now they're straining supply. So the thing that I think will free up most in our state is that they did just pass legislation to allow for ADUs. And that's going to open up a lot of opportunities for investors. It's going to open a lot of opportunities for families to get that much more out of their property where they don't necessarily have to move. Yeah. So as I look at rent control, obviously I'm against rent control, even though it means more money for me because of what it means societally for people is it's a bad thing. Rent control is a bad thing. It hurts them. They're going to pay more. But to Dion's point, as people need to prepare for what might shake up in the market, they do need to understand these things. And the key to it is this is where doing a great deal in the beginning really matters. Because if you did a skinny deal, you're going to be skinny losing. You're going to be skinny writing a check. And so those are the people that we're already seeing now. I'm seeing them on the Section 8 message boards because I participate in those. I help answer questions. So long as you're not a jerk face and you don't write anonymous next to your name. If you write anonymous, I'm going to call you out. So if you don't, I'm happy to answer your question. But I answer a lot of questions there and they're just like, hey, Section 8 went down in my area and I need to get $850 for my unit and Section 8 $650. I was like, well, then it would appear, have a problem. Yes. And that means that you can't go Section 8. So people just need to be aware. This is where you go. This is how you separate yourself from the good landlords and turn into a great and then turn into an elite one. Operationally for your business, you have to be prepared to deal with rent control. And the only way that you can do that is by making your units far more efficient, optimizing them to actually create a lot more revenue other ways than just rent. And that's what we spend so much time teaching people Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Guys, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Have a great time. And Dion, if people don't know, you're still in Thailand, right?
Oh yeah. I've got another
couple months,
month and a half until the Vegas event. I'm here. Then I fly to Vegas from Thailand.
Very cool. Thanks guys. Take care.
Thanks, Mike.